Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today, we're going to be going over how to have pretty much a two cabinet signal running to the house along with your dry signal. And it's going to be three different signal paths. So it's going to, all be orchestrated by the Zoom B6. And this is how we're going to do it, right? Just so we have a good example. So, right off the bat, just so you know, you can do this with just an uh, SGT-DI or a preamp in general. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you want to do it. And the Zoom B6, if you got that additional preamp you got lying around, you want to make it useful, this is how you do that. Okay? Or if you got a MS60B or something like that, or you want to get one of the new ones and you want to run it with their Zoom B6, this is the way you can do that. And this is a different way to utilize the effects loop. Okay, so what we basically gonna have, I have a Hartke TX600 bass amp head there. I have a Fender 115 Bassman Neo, right? That's the bass amp. That's the bass amp setup. I actually love the way that amp sounds. It sounds amazing together. But we're gonna get into that. That's one signal path. And then I have another signal path, and that cab is mic'd up. That's the cabinet that's gonna be mic'd. That's the only real cabinet you need mic. So you're gonna take one bass amp, you're gonna mic that, but you're gonna run the signal to the house like you're running multiple cabinets, you know. And they can pan it out. They can do a lot of different stuff. Trust me, it'll work. If you send this to a sound engineer, they'll love it. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, other signal path. So is pretty much SGT Ampeg SGT-DI running to the Spectracomp. That's running to the input of the Zoom B6, right? And let's hear a little bit of that. Let's start there. So we're gonna start. This is just the SGT and the Spectracomp in the dry signal that's running to the board, because I'm running three different signal paths to the house pretty much, so they can have plenty of flexibility, and it creates a much bigger sound than one bass signal by itself. It's even better than stereo, because you got your dry signal, then you're gonna have it's like having good example would be one bass amp here, another one here, and then in the middle would be your dry signal, and then all of that wall of sound is your sound. Hi, let's go. So we're gonna start with just the Ampeg SGT and the Spectracomp. Let's go. So that's pretty much that signal, right? Bam. Let's keep it pushing. So that's the dry signal that's running to the house. That's gonna stay in the middle. Now, the next signal path we got, like I said, we running that to the bass amp as well. How are we running through the bass amp? Okay, so how we got this set up and wired up here, to get this flexible setup here. So we going SGT, the preamp. We're going into the input of that pretty much, because I pretty much bypass I know it's all these flashing pedals and stuff, but ain't none of this stuff is affecting the sound. It's literally going straight to the SGT right now. Okay, so input of there. Preamp out is going to the Zoom B6, but the headphone and line out, line out slash headphone out. We're running that to the active input of the Hartke TX600 head, so we get that nice tube sound. And we're taking that send and running it back to the return. So let's hear what that sounds like. So in order to hear what that only that sounds like, we have to come here, cut the dry off, and just this return. Because remember, we sent it out one way, but we're actually bringing it back in a whole different route. So bringing it back in a different route, um, pretty much allows you to have two different amp sounds, if that makes sense. Matter of fact, yeah. So I'm not even EQing on the Harky. I literally got it flat. I just want that tube sound. I just want like that tube saturation. So um, I'm not actually EQing it on there because I mean, it's not my favorite EQ. Just being honest with you, it's not my favorite EQ. Um, but I like the voice of it, of the head. I like the way it sounds flat. Like, but I don't like too much of the tone shaping capabilities with it. They should have just made it flat and then allowed you to tweak it from there. I don't like nothing that don't start flat. I needed to start flat. All right, so um, yeah. So basically, SGT line out of there straight to the I'm running out of the line out because I still need that preamp sound from the SGT, and I'm just running that through the Harkey to get the tube saturation, and running out of the return of the Harkey to no the send of the Harkey to the return of the of Zoom B6. I know, guys, this is it's mad complicated. I'm sorry, it is a little bit complicated of a setup, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. So pretty much, I'm running the sound of that Harkey, the SGT through the Harkey um, two preamp, and then back into the return. So here we go. Let's get a little bit of that. Mm. And that's with the Aguilar. That's with the Aguilar um, IR on impulse response. The AG 410s with a tweeter. So those are the settings for that. But as you can see, it's its own separate thing now. That whole control, I got control over. The system got control over it because I'm actually running that a separate line. So I'm running a XLR out from the main out of the XLR out from the Zoom B6. Um, is what you're hearing right now, and that's also running through the IR. you know, because the return skips all these pedals and just goes to that bam. So, and this actually more than three, but this is like three altogether. Three different signal paths you can have all together, but you can do different things with them. You can have different textures. You can move these effects different ways before the send and send it out to the different thing. You can do tons. The flexibility. You don't actually need. I'm not gonna go there because I might wanna deal with them later. So I ain't gonna even say that about that. But yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at it's incredibly flexible. Let's go. Um, so that is the direct sound from the Hartke, right? Nice tube sound. Here's what it sounds like without the IR. And just so we have a quick comparison, that's the Hartke, the SGT running into the Hartke. Let's hear what it sounds like with just the SGT. That's just SGT, and here's SGT into the Hartke. So already you got two different sounds, you know. And when you turn on the IR, it's running both of those sounds. Let's go. But yeah, let's go. Uh, we're gonna run the. So we're gonna run the Hartke back. This sound will be the Hartke running into the return, and then hitting the IR. So it's basically that Hartke to the SGT into the Hartke to preamp, and then that's running into the IR. And we're also running the signal from the SGT and the Spectracomp as another signal. So it's just those two. It's two different signal paths. So again, SGT, Hartke, IR. That's one. That's going in the XLR out. Then out of the send that we have, the send from the Zoom B6 is running to the board. So we have the XLR running from the Zoom B6. We have the send running from the Zoom B6. This is such a complex setup. I know, guys. It's mad complicated. We're getting into the mad scientist territory here. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is when you really getting complicated with your sound. These different routing methods, like we did the 4 cable method last time. This is even more complicated than that. And I can honestly say that. Even explaining it, I didn't realize how complicated when I, do this signal chain flow, how it is. It's 3 different signal paths, and they all, you got to kind of just see it in your head. You can't really, it's not a way I can physically show you guys this at the moment. So, but, okay, so, number 1, SGT Hartke IR. That's running through the XLR out. Alright, so, and then the second line that we're mixing in, we're going to be mixing them, these 2 lines together.